So, with this coronavirus epidemic that we have going on, you have many celebrities, you have actors coming in and joining the podcast community, and you want to jump into it. Well, if you haven't heard, there's a program that you can use called Anchor, now, which is the easiest way to create a podcast. It's free. Um, there's a whole bunch of creation tools that allow you to record, edit your podcast from your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your computer. Um, it'll even distribute them for you. So it'll be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast platforms. You can make money with your podcast with no minimum listenership. Like I said, we have a lot of celebrities, we have a lot of actors, actresses joining the podcast community. So they'll be making money because of their followers. Well, you can do it too. You could have 2 followers and still be making money. So it's an easy way to join the podcast community because this program lets you um, make money with no minimum listenership. And it has everything you need from a podcast program all rolled into one. So if you want to join the community, don't forget to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started. Join us independent podcasters along with the celebrities and the actors and the actresses who are on the podcast community. So don't forget to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Howdy, folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal BuzzFeed with your homegirl, Denise. Now, got a lot of questions here. Paranormal. Well, I'm using the paranormal as an umbrella. It includes everything. Cryptoids, humanoids, everything that is unexplainable is going under my Paranormal BuzzFeed. So, if you want to hear something and it's not ghostly related, but it is, something in the umbrella of the paranormal, let me know and I will get on it. So today's episode is going to be on Ohio's 3 bizarre mythical creatures. Now, if you hear a noise in the background, pardon me. They don't know how to keep it low. So, I was, skimming through the internet, trying to figure out what my next episode would be about. And then I remember Ohio has the Grassman and a couple other Bigfoots. So I was like, all right. So I Googled, Ohio's, mythical creatures, Ohio's bizarre creatures. And I came out with 11, but 11 was way too long, so I'm only doing 3. So let's get started with creature number 1. Now, this creature sounds like a fairy tale type of creature, and I believe it would be a fairy tale. But this one is the Loveland Frogman. So let's give a little bit of a background to the Loveland Frogman. So, back in 1955, a man was traveling through Loveland, Ohio. Now, you got to remember the time frame, 1955. So, just keep that in mind, okay? He sees these 3 mysterious creatures and claimed that they were 3 to 4 feet tall, had leathery skin, and faces of frogs. Yeah, you heard that right. It had a frog's face. Interesting, right? Yep. So, now, people in Levelland have told this stories for years, even decades, about the Levelland Frogman. And according to some, the most recent event of seeing the Frogman was back in 2016 when a couple was out playing Pokemon Go. 2016, you're a couple and you're playing Pokemon Go. You got nothing better to do? Like, go out and have sex or something? But you're going to play Pokemon Go. Okay. We're going to go with that. And they claim to see this giant frog-like creature that stood on two legs and walked toward them. Shit, if I saw a two-legged frog thing come at me, I'd be like, really? Okay, let me jump in my car and hit it and then take pictures of it. I don't know. What would you do? I don't know. So, jump 20 years, about 20 so years, to March 3rd, 1972. Police officer Ray Shockey was driving on Riverside Drive near an old boot factory and Little Miami River around 1 a.m. when he spotted an unidentified animal scurrying across the road. Now, he described it as 3 to 4 feet tall, about 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery skin. It was crouched like a frog before it stood straight up, climbed over the rail towards the river. Okay, that's a pretty accurate description of the creature, if you ask me. And then 2 weeks later, Officer Mark Matthews also reported seeing an unidentified creature crouched along the road in the same vicinity as the first sighting. Except this time, Officer Matthews decided to shoot the animal, go get it, put it in his trunk, and show Shockey. So, let me get this. Second cop kills said creature, goes to the first cop. Is this what you saw? Yeah, okay. Matthews also stated, when questioned, it was a large iguana, 3 to 5 feet in length. But what he didn't realize, it was missing a tail. Now, Matthews says it could have got loose, or was released when it got too large by its owners. Now, same creature from 1955 and 1972. What do you think of the Loveland Frogman? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's like, what do you think? I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, now, what do you think of the officer's statement? Sorry, my dog's wants to be rubbed. What do you think of the officer's statement? Now, do you think it's full of shit? Do you think he shot some other type of creature? Who do you think is telling a more accurate story? Matthews or Shockey? Inquiring minds would like to know. Do you believe in the Loveland Frogman? What? Tell me. I'm curious what to know. That's so interesting. That creature was really interesting. Sorry, my dog is acting crazy. We just got back from a walk and she's all up in the air. I hope she calms down pretty soon. The next creature we're going to talk about, because I'm going to leave the good one, the best, for last, because it's part of a series I'm going to be working on, is the Charles Mill Lake Monster. Now, this one, is another popular a popular monster in Ohio. But you tell me what you think. Timeline. Here we go. 1959. 3 young men from Ohio claim to have been... Hold up. 1959, 3 young men from Ohio claimed to had a face-to-face encounter with one of the most bizarre creatures emerge from the lake bed. Couldn't read my own writing there, my notes. Jesus Christ. So, all right. So it's 1959. You're 3 dudes out chilling. Now, I gotta wonder, were you drunk? Were you smoking? Because, they said this, they described the creature as emerging from a seaweed strewn lake bed. I don't know about that one. Now, if you don't know, Ohio seems to be the stomping grounds for a few unique aquatic-based cryptids. Sorry, I shouldn't say cryptoids, cryptids. Now, according to my research, the Charles Mill Lake Monster lies between the Cleveland and Columbus Mill Reservoir, which the reservoir was built in 1935. And the Black Fork of the, I'm gonna butcher this, Mohican River. If you're from Ohio and I butchered it, don't shoot the messenger. You all got some weird names, and they're Native American names on top of it all. But this particular river is also known for its amphibious creatures. So, getting back to March 28th, 1959, the 3 teenagers, Danny Patterson, Wayne Armstrong, and Michael Lane, claimed to have run in with one of the flat-out weirdest varmints that anyone had chronicled, and testified that they were cavorting near Ruggles Road, near the swampy shores. Now, I wrote that as is because it just sounded so weird to me when I was reading it. I'm like, they're cavorting near the road, near the swampy shores, and there was the weirdest varmints. Oh my God. This is so funny. So they claim that they saw a 7-foot being rise up from the black water, kind of like the Swamp Thing, in my opinion. They described the beast as being huge, armless, humanoid with luminous green eyes and large webbed feet. Okay. They also described it as hairless, webbed feet, amphibious, can't pronounce that word, so bite me, armless. But here's the kicker. There's been no sightings of this creature since 1959. I wonder why. Now, to me, it sounds like these 3 kids were out getting drunk, partying too much, probably smoking something, whatever they had back in the day, and were high as a kite and made up this creature. That's what it sounds like to me. But then again, I could be wrong. It's freedom of speech. I found this one very interesting and a little weird. But yeah, so tell me what you think about the Lake Charles. Was it the Lake Charles? Oh, I'm sorry. The Charles Mill Lake Monster. Yeah, that was a weird one. Really nothing much I can find on that one. So, here's the one I like. And one of my favorites. Because this one's going to be part of a whole series on this particular cryptid. Because there's a whole bunch of them all over the world, and we're going to discuss them in particular detail. So, the next one. And this one is very famous because it's been on TV. If you watch Mountain Monsters, which is one of my favorite shows, for one, it's the characters and the cast are hilarious. I mean, I can't get enough of Wild Bill. And Trapper, may his soul rest in peace. You know, he passed away. But that show was very funny. It was hilarious. The creature I'm talking about is the Ohio Grassman. Yup. You can't talk about Ohio creatures without talking about the Grassman. Come on, dude. It's like one of the most famous creatures in Ohio. Everybody knows what the Grassman is. And if you don't know what the Grassman is, then you've been living under a freaking rock. All right. So let's get this started. Okay. So a little bit of information on the Grassman. The Ohio Grassman is a 7-foot, 300-pound, give or take, bipedal creature that stalks the woods of Ohio. It is said to be similar to Bigfoot, but more aggressive. That was mentioned on Mountain Monsters, the Ohio Grassman episode, where it knocked Buck on his ass than any other Sasquatch. His name is, he gets his name from the small hut-like living structures, nests it builds. So let's go back a little bit. In August of 1978, the grandchildren of Evelyn and Howie Clayton come running in because they were outside, so they come running in and they started telling them, hey, we saw hairy monster out by the gravel pit. So when the grandparents go outside to check it out, lo and behold, they see this creature covered in matted hair sitting in a pit, messing. Who uses the word messing? Who's poking in the trash. But see, that won't be the only time that they see the Grassman. The Claytons also stated that the Grassman was peeking at them through their kitchen window. Now, when that happened, Mr. Clayton ran for his gun. And when he returned, Mr. Grassman was gone. Now, the area was investigated, typical, police come in, search the area. Nothing was found but footprints. And there was a horrible smell in the air. It smelled like rotten food, like rancid food. This turned out to be the most complex and important Bigfoot investigation in Ohio's history. 1978 wasn't the first time in history that the Grassman appeared. In the 1700s, Native Americans tell stories of the Grassman and spoke of a race of bipedal ape man and referred to them as the wild ones of the woods. 1800s had sightings of a bipedal ape man. Mr. Grassman at one point tried to throw one of a guy through a carriage, and that didn't go too well because the guy's daughter started throwing rocks at the Mr. Grassman. So the characteristics of Mr. Grassman. Now, again, we have these characteristics because there have been witnesses to seeing the Grassman. So we can say that people have actually seen the Grassman. But then again, this is all hearsay. I haven't found, said number of witnesses or anything like that in doing research. But then again, I wasn't going in depth on the Grassman. I was just doing the top 3 bizarre creatures of Ohio. Okay, so the characteristics of the Grassman: 5 to 10 feet tall, but they're usually around 6 to 7. Their footprints can range from 10 to 20 inches, but usually 10 to 15. Handprints, none of yet, so nobody's found a handprint of Mr. Grassman. The weight: it is said that the Grassman can weigh anywhere from 300 to 1,000 pounds. But again, how do we know? We're eyeballing it. But, witnesses say 350 to 550 is more reasonable. Again, we're eyeballing it. Sound. Now, this is interesting. Some people say it growls and barks like a dog. I didn't know the Grassman was a dog. Others say it sounds like a baby crying or a scream of a woman. Now, in the episode of Mount Monsters, they did hear baby crying or a woman screaming. So that one kind of made sense. But then again, it's a fake episode, so, it's made for TV. But I don't know, it kind of rang the bell. And it smells rotten. So you'll know when there's a Grassman around you. You know when Mr. Grassman's around you because you'll smell him before you see him. It's like rotten eggs. Now, we all know what rotten eggs smells like. We all know what sulfur smells like. So if you smell that shit, the Grassman is near. Be careful. Now, the appearance of the Mr. Grassman: deep set eyes, very chesty, black brown in color, sometimes gray, long arms, pointed and bulky. He has no neck. Might as well call him no neck. Wide shoulders. Some say he has smooth hair. Others say it's shaggy and matted. And some say he has red eyes. Others say he has orange eyes. Some say he looks like a giant freaking gorilla. Now, they claim that the Grassman is the most aggressive Bigfoot out of all the Sasquatch creatures. How do we know that? How do we know that? We don't. Again, we're just taking it as a hypothetical that he's the aggressive. Unless these witnesses actually seen him fucking destroying things, knocking a full-grown tree over, lifting a car and flipping it like no tomorrow. We don't know. Some say it walks like a robot. Very machinery kind of stance. It's killed dogs. It's killed deers. So it kills to eat. So we know it's a meat eater because, well, according to witnesses, it's a meat eater. They've been seen up to 5 in a group, which again varies depending on witnesses. they either live in a cave or in a dome type structure made out of branches and leaves. So this creature can actually put shit together. Amazing. Very human-like. Can he cook too? Can he clean too? I don't know. A lot of people believe that the grass man is a distant cousin of a human. Very interesting. What do you think of the grass man? Does he really exist? What would you do if you came across the grass man? Would you stand there? Would you run? Would you take a selfie? Would you take a picture? What would you do if you were out in the woods in Ohio and you came across the grass man? First and foremost, if I smelled him, I'll be gone. Because supposedly he's the most aggressive of all the Sasquatch. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and wait. I'll probably jump in my car and wait. And if I see him, probably run him over. But then again, donate him to science. Have science look at him. Have science investigate and see why. They say that his footprints are almost human-like. So could it be, a wild man? Could it be, a human that just grew up in the woods and, doesn't know civilization? It's a good question. Inquiring minds would like to know. So tell me what you think about this week's episode. The 3 bizarre creatures of Ohio. The Loveland Frogman, the Charles Mill Lake Monster, and my favorite, the Ohio Grassman. Don't forget to follow us on Insta and Twitter. Feel free to shoot us an email at paranormalbuzzfeed@gmail.com. Got any questions, any stories, any ideas? Go ahead and shoot us that email. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Wherever you listen to your podcast, don't forget to share it. Sharing is caring. And the more we share, the better. It helps my podcast, hit and get reached out to other subscribers. So don't forget to share, love. Lost my train of thought. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and let others know about Paranormal BuzzFeed. I will see you over the weekend. I will be recording another episode Saturday, and hopefully getting it up on Saturday also. I am still looking for ghost stories, so if you have a ghost story, true or fake, doesn't really matter, to add to the listener episode. I'm still working on a listener episode, so if you have any any stories, real or fictional, so I can generate an episode of all the listeners that I have or will have, I'm trying to get. So don't forget to send in your info. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, keep it ghosting. This is your homegirl, Denise. Talk to you all later. Bye.